So after yesterday's terrifying discovery, I am going to attempt to make a new engine mount today. So I found the bits and pieces. Only a short intro, we're just going to crack on. I'd say that was rare. That was fucking rare.
We're going to go for medium rare next.
Okay, I'm not happy with yesterday's effort, so I'm going to have another go. I tried putting the scoop underneath, and these double return folds are really difficult to form in this enormous stainless steel plate. So what I'm going to try this time is move on to the next bit of bar. I've got enough of it, I'll ruin a few bits, it's fine. And try folding it the other way, so have it clamped this way and then fold it over the top. We'll give that a go instead, see how that goes. Okay, so we're doing well. Much better than last time. It fits up pretty well. What we'll do is I'll tack it around the outside and just make sure it's crimped down while we're welding it, just to hold it tight. I might need to pull the legs in slightly as well, but overall that's looking okay. Take around the outside, and that means that then the hoop can come up from underneath. I still haven't decided what we're doing with the poly, but the hoop will come up from underneath and bolt onto the actual original engine mount. Should support us all right. So crack on. So the welder's going at the moment, but I'm pretty pleased with that. So what we've effectively got is we'll be drilling here and here, mount sits up there, we'll have a U section that comes up underneath here, which bolts either side, and then there'll be a bar that comes off to the strut mount. I don't think it's going anywhere. It's going to add some weight to the car. Wonder if it's going to fit. Oh, yeah, she's still hot. So that is bob on in the middle of the pads. What do we think? Got much more clearance than we used to have. I think we're going to be good with that, you know. We have a bar. Oh, crikey, this thing's in the way. A bar that runs across from here to here. So the stabilizer runs across there. The hoop runs underneath. I think we're going to be all right. Tell you what, let's get the other bit and see how that looks. Okay, so that's the lower piece. So you can see underneath there. So we've got loads of room underneath. That looks like that's going to work lovely. Beauty. That's going to be beautiful. So a hoop underneath, rubber bush in the top, one support bar. We're nearly there. Great progress. Okay, next up, let's build the U piece that goes underneath, which will bolt onto the original engine bracket. See where we get to then. Okay, so this is where we are. It's going to sit something like this. We've got clearance. I mean, that bit needs trimming down anyway, but that looks pretty good. So we've got some cutting to do and some drilling, and then we'll move on to the next stage. Okay, so that's where we're at for now. I've just bodged together a bush in there for now, just some old polyurethane and some silicone just to fit it up. Of course, need to trim the edges, drill the holes, that kind of stuff. But even with things not quite fitting up square, which they're not at the moment, we've got clearance. We have got plenty of clearance. That's all good down there. Kind of hard to see, to be honest. But yeah, either way, she is looking great. We shall have a proper engine mount. Okay, so I'm going to make some modifications. I think I've made it too tall. The clearance underneath is way too big. So what I can do is if I drop this down to about there, we should have enough clearance underneath. That means I'll be able to drop the hole somewhere like about there. Trim the whole thing and then shorten this bit as well. So another go. Okay, guys, this is where we're up to. I haven't filmed for a bit, just been making rather than filming. But so the top mount is done. So it's braced to the chassis now. It's a bit dark, to be honest, but braced to the chassis. Oh, what if I do? Hey, here we go. Look. So it's braced to the chassis up there. That's all tigged in, and everything else is done. I've changed the design a little bit. I've got a bar that goes across the bottom. Now the issue is that I have made the mount a little too short by probably about 5mm, and we've got some contact at the bottom, so I need two. I've got space. I've got space in here to be able to raise it up slightly on the U bracket, and that should give me the clearance I need. It doesn't need much because the engine's
fully weighted up, and it's sitting okay. Got a little bit to do there, but yeah, hopefully with a little bit more fettling, I think we'll be there. We'll have a look tomorrow.
A bit breezy today, but this is where we've got to. Let me show you what we've done. So we have got the top support on with an extra bracket which goes across to give it lateral stability. The lower bracket is sorted. We've got enough clearance at the bottom. I've gone up to a 12mm fitting for the main bolt, so it fits nicely. Everything's together. I just need to get probably the rest of the engine built up, and then we can mount this, and the engine can all just rest back on its mount again. All good. Was I too loud? Was I too loud?
You were dominating a little bit, but it's fine. It's fine because you're coming in with like the random offset. We've had two.
Right, to get down inside that engine mount, there's one bolt which is extremely hard to get to. It's got two pieces of casting down either side. It's sunk in, and then you've got the chassis rail on the outside. I cannot get a spanner in there because there's not enough space to swing it once it's on there. A swan neck won't fit in there because that also has the same problem. I can get a socket on there, but then I can't get a bar on the socket. So I found this. This is a 1/2 inch drive, actually from a torque wrench, which fits into my socket. And then I can put a 1/2 inch spanner on the outside of that. And I think I'll have enough clearance. Let's give it a go. Okay, finally everything's back in again. It hasn't been easy, but we're all mounted up. All the engine bolts are in, cam belt covers in, the engine mounts all supported, everything's bolted up. I've used Loctite where needed, crank pulleys back on. Let's drop it down and see how it looks. Beautiful. We've got clearance everywhere we need clearance. See how that drives. I'm pretty pleased with that. So you can see down there we've got clearance underneath. There's probably between 5 and 10 mil underneath. There's clearance on the top as well. And it all sits in there pretty nicely. I'm quite pleased with that. It's loads better than it was. I mean, the main thing is the amount of clearance I've got to that cam pulley now is absolutely shed loads. Exactly what it needs. And I don't think that mount's going anywhere. I mean, it's made mostly from 5mm stainless steel. It's pretty much immovable. The car will fall down around it. Fantastic. So we're finally there.